of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander. In out-of-the-way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. Poet John O'Donohue.
What you are is what you have been. What you'll be is what you do now. Siddhartha Gautama.
The voice of one crying out in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make his paths straight. Matthew chapter 1, verse 3.
What does it mean to begin?
Not just to start fast and loose, but to intentionally prepare for a new era.
To cross a threshold hand in hand with a whole community, all of you gathering together to create something that is both informed by your collective history and entirely new.
Join us for Preparing the Way, a worship series to set our intentions for the future as we prepare to move our UUCA community into our new spiritual home.
Good morning, everybody. UUCA. So great to see each and every one of you here in the building, as well as those of you who are joining us online. My name is Leroy Kennedy. I'm the sabbatical music director for UUCA for the next few months. And first of all, we just want to say welcome to Miss B. Renee. She's going to be leading us in our anthem, providing an anthem for us this morning. Those of you at home, we encourage you to find a place where you can be present, light your chalice where you are, participate in the hymns, both online here in the building, and just close your eyes doing meditation, connect with yourself, the universe, and just let the week's worries and tribulations, or what may ever have come across you on this week, just let it dissipate away. Can we all join together now? Let's stand and singing our opening hymn, 131, Love Will Guide Us. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. Thank you. You can be seated.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Duncan Teague, the lead minister at Abundant Love. We have a bunch of ministers these days. I don't know how that happened. I'm so glad that you're here, and it is a joy to be with you, especially in person. No slight to those of you who are with us online, and especially our friends from Abundant Love. Thank you. Here at Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, we are transforming lives through courageous action and soulful connection. Your queer self, your creative self, your skeptical self, your critically thinking self, your whole self is welcomed here, where we are all working on ourselves. Amen. Welcome to our healthy home.
Good morning. I'm Ellen Beatty, and I'm so glad to be with you this morning for our worship. Your savvy is our best defense. Scammers are yet again making fake email addresses, impersonating Reverend Terrence Strauss, and reaching out into our community. Remember, neither Reverend Strauss nor any staff member will ever ask you to directly give money or a gift card through an email or a text. We are aware of these phishing scams, and we continue to warn the community. We appreciate everyone's efforts to let us know, but please refrain from forwarding these emails to our staff. If you're ever in serious doubt about the validity of an email, feel free to give us a call. Don't miss the very last adult religious education class this year. This last class is the finale of our gentrification series, featuring none other than the original designer of the Atlanta Beltline, Ryan Gravel. Don't miss it. Join us this Tuesday at 7:30. Through the live chat, we can express love and care for each other. Please take a moment to say hello to each other and anyone else who may be visiting during this morning's worship. And we'll do the same right here. Come on, say hello.
After more than a year and a half away from each other, greeting is a lot. If you'll say the chalice lighting words with us. May the light of this flame illuminate our tradition of seeking, invite all who yearn for acceptance, and ignite our passion for justice and peace. We are hoping that that's our soloist.
There's a place out there for us, more than just a prayer or anything you've ever dreamed of. So when you feel like giving up, 'cause you don't fit in down here, fear is crashing in. Close your eyes and take my hand. We can be the kings of queens of anything there's a place for us. There's a place for us. When the water meets the sky, where your heart is free and hope comes back to life, where these broken hands are whole again, we will find what we've been waiting for. We were made for so much more. We can be the kings and queens of anything if we believe. It's written in the stars that shine above. A world where you and I belong, where faith and love will keep us strong. Exactly who we are is just enough. Yes, there's a place for us. There's a place for us. So hold on, now hold on. There's a place for us. We can be the kings and queens of anything if we believe. It's written in the stars that shine above. A world where you and I belong, where faith and love will keep us strong. Exactly who we are is just enough. Exactly who we are is just enough. Yes, there's a place for us.
Thank you so much, B. Renee. That was worth the wait. So I'd like to invite you to rise, embody your spirit, and we're going to join the Liebman-Honeycutt family in the movement prayer. We're already getting like claps for the Liebman-Honeycutt family. Okay, here we go. First, we bow to honor the spirit of life. We lift our arms and embrace the gifts of spirit. We bring these gifts unto ourselves with gratitude and breathe and smile. We share these gifts with the world. We remember to be present, honor, embrace, gratitude, share, be present. Thank you.
We would be one as now we join in singing our hymn of love to pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other, to show to all a new community.
Let us put hands on hearts. Feel that warm connection. Let love in this moment flow. And say to yourself silently, I will love myself. I will love others. And that love will heal the world. You are invited to say the names of people you are holding in your heart this morning. Speak the names into this holy space now. May all beings find connection. May all people find comfort. May all of us find ways to be more loving to one another. As humans gathered for millennia, so we gather on this day to gently surrender to something beyond ourselves, to humbly acknowledge our mistakes, to ask forgiveness, to seek hope and renewal, to honor the earth that supports and sustains life, to remember that all beings are inextricably and mysteriously connected. Now still our bodies, and we still our minds. If you will, we take in a deep, big breath, and we exhale. We relax into this space that our intentions make sacred. We enter into the wise silence.
We would be one in building for tomorrow, a nobler world than we have known today. We would be one in which binds our hearts and points us on our way. As we pledge ourselves to greater service with love and justice, strive to make us free.
Good morning. I'm Laura Beth Brown, Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and our story this morning is Maybe Something Beautiful: How Art Transformed a Neighborhood by F. Isabel Campoy and Teresa Howell, illustrated by Rafael Lopez. In the heart of a gray city, there lived a girl who loved to doodle, draw, color, and paint. Every time she saw a blank piece of paper, Mira thought to herself, maybe. And because of this, her room was filled with color and her heart was filled with joy. On her way to school one day, Mira gave a round apple to Mr. Henry, the owner of the shop down the street. She gave a flower to Miss Lopez, the lady with the sparkling eyes. She gave a songbird to Mr. Sachs and a red heart to the policeman who walked up and down the streets. On her way home, Mira taped a glowing sun onto the wall, hiding in the shadows. Her city was less gray, but not much. The next day, Mira saw a man with a pocket full of paintbrushes. He gazed at the wall. He looked at her son. He held his fingers up in a square and peered through them. He said thoughtfully. What do you see? Mira asked. Maybe something beautiful, the man replied. Then, just like that, he dipped a brush in the paint. Bam! Pow! The shadows scurried away. Sky blue cut through the gloom. The man's laughter was like a rainbow spreading across the sky. Who are you? Mira asked. I'm an artist, he said. A muralist. I paint on walls. I'm an artist too, she told him. He handed Mira a brush. Well, then come on. Mira dipped it in the loudest color she saw. Yowee! The wall lit up like sunshine. As the man drew pictures on the bricks, Mira added color, punch, and pizzazz. Soon, Mr. Sachs joined in. Then came others. Everyone painted to the rhythm: salsa, merengue, bebop. Even Mira's mama painted and danced the cha-cha. The whole neighborhood became a giant block party until the policeman walked up. Excuse me, he said. The music stopped. Mira put down her paintbrush. They were surely in trouble. The officer cleared his throat, then paused. May I paint with you? He asked. So Mira handed him a paintbrush and the music started again. Teachers and papas jumped in. Babies too. Mira and the man handed out brush after brush. Color spread throughout the streets. And so did joy. Wherever Mira and the man went, art followed, like the string of a kite. After they colored the walls, they painted utility boxes and benches. They decorated sidewalks with poetry and shine. And everyone danced. Together, they created something more beautiful than they had ever imagined. When their clothes were splattered with 1,000,000 colors, everyone sat down to rest, except the muralist. His eyes sparkled. "You, my friends, are all artists," he told them. "The world is your canvas." He smiled wide, then pulled everything together in big, sweeping motions. His paintbrush was like a magic wand. When he finished, Mira added one more bird way up in the sky. Maybe, she thought, just maybe. The end.
Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye. I say hello. This month, as we have spiritually been preparing to leave this space and move into our new congregational home, I've been thinking a lot about the nature of farewells and new beginnings. This is graduation season, when we find ourselves publicly celebrating the wonderful milestones that graduations are and all of the accomplishments that they represent. At the same time, some of us privately are mourning the loss of an era or of the daily connections that we cherish. For many of us taking part in our small group ministries this year, this is also the month when we bring to a close and say our farewells to these special circles of trust and intimacy that together we have forged through a practice of deep sharing. Fittingly, our May discussion guide prompted us to ask ourselves and one another, have you ever experienced a beautiful goodbye? Well, have you? I'll bet you have. That question evoked many images for me. Among them was the way that we said goodbye to our beloved UUCA home of over 50 years on Cliff Valley Way. Those of you who were there will remember that farewell fairly well. Those of you who weren't should hear the story. Over the course of the whole week, the whole last week that we were there, a group of Buddhist monks and artists painstakingly created a beautiful and meaningful sand mandala in the center of our sanctuary in the round. This activity drew all kinds of people into our building to watch them perform their art and ritual, but also to honor that place and say farewell. Our very last Sunday worship there incorporated the ritual of dismantling, sweeping away that precious mandala. With that and so much more that went into that service, suffice it to say, it was a beautiful goodbye. What followed was just as beautiful. Scores of volunteers worked together to pack up or sell off all of our belongings and to move us here into this space we call the treehouse. Just 1 week later, we said hello to this place that welcomed us. It was stunning how quickly we made it our home. Things like a beautiful mural on the wall that had space for our names, a welcome table in the social hall, sweet new RE classrooms all set up, and suddenly this place was ours. Then came the great pandemic, and this space was lovingly transformed into a broadcast studio. Our live stream allowed us to link to each other in this community, but also beamed us into this beloved space that holds us. We gazed during the service online at our chalice that sits on a table decked with very special table-made cloths made by volunteers here in the congregation, our familiar pulpit, our little UUCA world. Memories have been forged here at the Treehouse. Children have been born. New members have been welcomed. Memorials have been celebrated. I think it's safe to say that we are thrilled to be moving into our new space soon. But we also bid this space that has served us so well a heartfelt goodbye. I am grateful for the physical, virtual, spiritual, and social spaces, old and new, that hold this community together and keep us connected. May we honor them by contributing generously to keeping this community strong, welcoming, and connected. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. Wind that makes the tall grass bend into leaning. Suddenly the snowflakes that fall have a meaning, sprinkling the sea makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction. It would sure be nice to be back home where there's love and affection. And just maybe I can convince time to slow up, giving me enough time in my life to grow up. Time, be my friend, help me start again. Suddenly my world's gone and changed its face, but I know where I'm going. I have had my mind spun around in space, and yet I've watched it growing. Oh, if you're listening, God, please don't make it hard to know if we should believe the things that we see. Tell us, should we run away or should we try and stay? Or would it be better just to let things be? Living here in this brand new world might be a fantasy, but it's taught me to love, so it's real to me. And I've learned that we must look inside our hearts to find a world full of love, like yours, like mine, like home.
Thank you. And I told you not to sing that. Wow. Where are we? I know where we are, I just have to stop crying. Now, if you'll please join me in the dedication of the offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action we call community. We dedicate our lives and these our offerings. I asked him for a whole nother song. Our reading today comes from a poet you want to look up, David Diop, I think is the way I'm going to pronounce it, or Diop. He's African, and he's from West Africa. He grew up in France. His parents were from one of the Francophone countries, so the original poem is written in French. I hope someday you hear it in French. Africa, my Africa. Africa of proud warriors in ancestral savannas. Africa of whom my grandmother sings on the banks of the distant river, I have never known you. But your blood flows in my veins. Your beautiful black blood that irrigates the fields, the blood of your sweat, the sweat of your work, the work of your slavery, Africa. Tell me, Africa, is this your back that is unbent? The back that never breaks under the weight of humiliation. The back trembling with red scars and saying no. No to the whip under the midday sun, but a grave voice answers me. Impetuous child, that tree young and strong, that tree over there, splendidly alone amidst white and faded flowers. That is your Africa springing up anew. Springing up patiently, obstinately, whose fruit bit by bit acquires the bitter taste of liberty. Amen. That's our reading for today. Leroy, the title of the sermon is Somewhere a Place for Us, hint, hint. We get along fine, y'all. I let him do his thing and he lets me do mine. It is great to be home, and especially with B. Renee following me over here. I don't know who did that. It's good also, as much as I loved it, if you can tell, I put on everything African I could find from my trip to Nairobi, Kenya on business, and then 4 days on Savannah. I will never be the same again, I hope. I will never be the same again, I hope. I am that obnoxious neighbor who went on vacation and came back with, well, okay, so people of a certain age won't even know what this is, a carousel full of slides. And over some baked chicken, they make you watch 400 slides. That's me this morning. Hi, Karen Rigo. I just landed Thursday, so it's not, I'm still on vacation. Part of me is still there. But it's wonderful to be back home with my husband and my friends, and wonderful to be back with you. I want to say something in particular. By the way, Ellen, that was beautiful, your words about this place and the offering. And I want to do the other piece briefly. And that's for some of you, the treehouse is not a sweet place. It's a place that reminds you of a lot of things that went not so nice. It's the place where you had to go to when your temple was destroyed in 3 days. And I want to hold you. And I want to tell you it's going to be all right. And I also want to acknowledge that you get to have those feelings. They cannot stop us from becoming who we need to be, but you get to have those feelings. And the treehouse has worked. It could have worked a little better, but it has worked. Theology of place is what brought me to this, because this was supposed to be y'all's last Sunday. But how many of y'all have ever had renovations done at home or present? How many of those renovations or remodels ever came in on time? I see one hand. Oh, you are a saint. Or you did it yourself. It doesn't happen that way. In theology of place, it's not a new theology. It's a very old one, actually. It's about the place influencing how you have a relationship with the divine or with your community, the very place. And I came from the epitome of that in the Masai Mara. And I'll say more about that later. But this theology of place was so ingrained in the minds of the ancient people. And notice I didn't say primitive, I said ancient. Because they did a lot of things that we seem to keep doing, or sometimes they did it better. But they had the notion that if we steal your God, the statue of your God, after we conquer you and take him into our land, guess what? You're rendered defeated, because I took your God, stole it from the land it sat on and brought it to mine. Now what you gonna do? That's the theology of place. Promised lands. In the American context, that got kind of nasty. Because who's the land promised to, for what, by whom? I'm not going into the Israel-Palestine thing, but that's worth 2 or 3 more other sermons about promised lands. There's this dilemma about promised lands, is that there's somehow whoever promised it to you doesn't get rid of the folks who are on it. But that's another sermon. Turning to a land where revelations happened daily, during the day, to pray or to honor where that happened. A theology of place so strong that when I pray, I must turn to San Francisco. You pray where you're free, I'll pray where I'm free. Where will you face when you remember the places that this community touched your heart and set you free? Which direction will you face? And the theology of place is sometimes not consistent with my existentialist theology and reality and philosophy. I hung out with them a long time before I became UU. And, you know, they said that it's about this present moment of which we live. That what is sacred for me and Leroy is that we are here right now. And theology of place sometimes challenges that and conflicts with that because the place might not be where you are now, and so you're drawn to what you want. Or heaven forbid, or maybe in some ways healing where you came from. There's something that happened to me as an African American when I landed in Africa. And I wasn't even on the right coast, because I know genetically I'm West African, but I was in East Africa, and it'll do. See, we're alive in this present moment, right now, not when we get to the promised land, but now. And so I'm preaching about something that's in contradiction to what might make some of us be more at peace. And I'm okay with that because we're UU and we like contradiction. Our songwriter this morning, the one that we didn't sing, anyway, Mr. Sondheim wrote of a place that was not in existence. In the spin on Romeo and Juliet called West Side Story, he has the lovers imagine a place that would have been a stretch, or that was not a stretch, for a gay man who was in his prime in the 50s and early 60s. Somewhere a place for us, when the very act of being in love was illegal. We're still building places in open air, peace and quiet, places for us somewhere. He was something else. No matter who you must love. And notice, I didn't say choose to love, I said must. Because if you really love them, especially after that 4th month, you must love them. It's like dessert being served first. And thank God it happens that way, or none of us would exist. But anyway, and then dinner, where we are loved back. And does it have to be imaginary? I hope not. See, we are a community, and if that new building burns down, breathe, and the treehouse closes. If y'all have to meet in my backyard, you're still Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta. In this moment, not after a while, not when, but right now. And we get to, not must, but choose what kind of loving community we're going to be right now, and then where are we going to take that community's soul. And y'all don't stick it in the new building. Huh? Can I hear an amen, please? Amen. The soul of this community goes all over. Not just in the new pretty building, and it better be pretty. And what gives me the right to be so pompous about this, because I have stood in a Maasai village, an honorary elder, by the way, with fresh cow dung on my shoes, and loved and appreciated by people collectively who do not own as much as you have in that kitchen. I have been to the land that tells the Maasai people who they are from the horizon to the horizon. It's almost like Western Kansas. not because they own the land, like our cultural capitalism says, but because the Maasai are connected to the land and their cattle and the creatures of the Mara, the plains surrounding them, even the predators. Even the predators. In our theology of place, can you say that you are connected to the soul healing land and that life that surrounds us? Is there a place for us that we must claim that welcomes the stranger who has come from miles away, tired, anxious, curious, in need of joy and the shyness of the Maasai children singing my name? And I have a video to prove it. Please excuse me. I'm not the only member of the UUCA who has gone on safari and had to learn these lessons about being in the motherland of humanity. The motherland of humanity, not just those who are descended from slavery. We, as creatures on this earth, got up and walked out of a savanna not far from where I was. So all y'all from Africa. And see the creatures we were told must be jailed in zoos to witness. And they don't. They do not. I was in the truck, and I promise you I stayed in the truck this time. And she was right there, the lioness who had missed a kill. And the traffic jam on the way to the resort from the airstrip out in the middle of nowhere was a herd of elephants. And I am the one who returned less than a week ago, transformed by the plains of the Masai Mara. And from the air, or from one of the high ridges bordering those spots, you see where the forests become circles, and Mara means spotted land. And it's curious for me how ancient people who herded cattle could get to an elevation where they could see that it looks like a spotted carpet, which is visible from the air. But they were primitive. I also want to say that the Maasai people of this beautiful land are alive and well. They are not extinct or museum displays. And our so-called civilization is encroaching. And the youth are not necessarily wanting to stay on the Mara after they're educated and come back to the rural life. I also want to say out loud that Unitarian Universalism is alive and well. Or at least I hope. And I hope we're all committed to sharing our faith with the same romance and the love for who we are that the Maasai shared with me. I learned so much about a place where the hippos sang me to sleep and woke me up sliding into the river snorting. They sound like a bunch of trombones tuning up until they get upset. And there ain't no trombones there. I also had the privilege of being in Nairobi, and I met at my business meeting people working to still fight the stigma of HIV and AIDS, the one part of the epidemic that is not over. A world literally away, in a center named for Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and my story was validated by African people from all over the continent. And I was the only Black gay man in the room, and my story was validated. Even though we must leave the treehouse, not today, but soon, I'm so glad to see those boxes. Can I get an amen for the boxes? Because our time here is coming to an end, and we have to, because of our wealth and privilege, welcome the stories of those who come to us in need of our liberation and healing, and they came to us while we were at the treehouse. They don't know about the old temple. And that's what we will consecrate our land, our buildings, and maybe some divine being will be present, but if, and that's important for some of us. But if the divine beings get the wrong address, we're still going to be all right, and we're still going to bless the stranger, and we're going to bring them to see what we love. My vacation wasn't perfect, by the way. I had cultural hiccups. I'm not a haggler. And they haggle. Don't ever wear your priest collar to a market. I'm a clearance rack expert, and that isn't how they do it in East Africa and the Kenyan culture. Wow, did I learn some expensive lessons. And the stress that had me needing this vacation had to be unpacked so that I could be there. I'm begging you to also unpack the stress from wherever it comes. Even here in this nice place that has held us while we were redecorating the new temple. You get to decide what harm, what COVID-19 traumas, what collective hurt we pack up and take with us, and it must be unpacked. It ain't written here, but I'm over liberals hauling stuff around that they don't need anymore. Because you see, it will sneak into the boxes like lions in the tall golden grass. And you cannot see a pride of 20-some lions in tall grass, and I know it for a fact. Because they'll come out roaring when it's time. Somewhere, a place for our individual and collective recognized healing, like the vast plains of the Masai Mara, filled with diverse, interconnected life. What does that sound like? Beautiful, dangerous, and sacred, just like us. May our time here in this place be blessed, and may our ability to change lives and outcomes of lives make us ever grateful and ever vigilant to be better. Be as proud as the Maasai on their 5,000-foot plateau with all the grand and amazing creatures of East Africa. The great tusk and those humble and diverse with simple and profound ways of existing. Asante. Thank you.
Can we all now join in standing and singing our closing hymn, number 1052, The Oneness of Everything. Far beyond the grasp of hands, or light to meet the eye, past the reaches of the mind. There find the key to nature's harmony in an architecture so entwined. Like the birds whose patterns grace the sky and carry all who join in love expanding, the message of peace will rise in light, taking the weight of the world upon his wings. In the oneness of in the dance of trees who stir before the first breath of wind is yet perceived. Trust in the song becoming one with the dance, and all mysteries can be believed. Passing is just mine, I know the faith and rectors in the earth ever giving, and now to maintain the harmony gives to us all lives worth living. For the oneness of everything. Still we seek to find a truth that we might understand and reduce to terms defined. Vast and immeasurable time and space, also overwhelmingly designed. Oh, passing is just mine, I know the faith that winters in the heart to be reborn in spring, to hear and to feel the pulse of life enters my soul as a song to sing of the oneness of everything.
Our spiritual takeaway is, I know it sounds so classist that you must go to Africa, but you must. But I tell you what, I had allowed a knot to form in my back from stress. Don't do that. And you don't have to go to the Masai Mara. Go wherever you can be loved and get away from your day-to-day grind and meet some new people and see some new animals and let the hippos sing to you. May we have a place where love is always overflowing. Akuta Matata.
get a, can I get a